Rameshwar was a town steeped in tradition. Nestled amidst rolling hills and lush greenery, it was a place where the past and present coexisted harmoniously. The town's narrow streets were lined with ancient temples and homes that had stood the test of time. The marketplace was always bustling with activity, filled with the vibrant colours of spices, textiles, and the cheerful chatter of its residents. Life moved at a slower pace here. The people of Rameshwar took pride in their unhurried way of living, where every moment was savoured and every tradition was cherished. Couples strolled hand in hand along the serene landscapes, their lives intertwined with the rhythms of nature and the customs of their ancestors. The air was thick with the scent of incense and the murmur of prayers. Temples were the heart of the community, where people gathered to offer their devotion and seek blessings. The sound of bells and chants filled the air, creating a sense of peace and unity. Everyone knew their place, and there was a comforting order to life in Rameshwar. Elders were revered, customs were followed without question. The wisdom of the older generation was held in high regard, and their blessings were sought for every important decision. Families gathered to celebrate festivals and rituals, passing down traditions from one generation to the next. It was a way of life that had remained unchanged for centuries. Change was a whisper, a distant rumour. In a place where tradition reigned supreme, the idea of change was both intriguing and unsettling. It was spoken of in hushed tones, a possibility that lingered on the edges of conversations. Yet for some, the allure of the unknown was impossible to ignore.
Mukesh was a son of Rameshwar. Born and raised in this timeless town, he was a product of its rich heritage and deep-rooted values. His life was a reflection of the traditions that had shaped Rameshwar for generations. He was brought up on tales of its glorious past. Stories of valor, devotion, and sacrifice were an integral part of his upbringing. These tales were not just stories. They were lessons that instilled a sense of pride and responsibility in Mukesh. He was taught to respect its age-old traditions. From a young age, Mukesh participated in cultural ceremonies and rituals, learning the significance of each practice. He observed his family with reverence, understanding the importance of maintaining the customs that defined their identity. Mukesh, with his kind eyes and gentle smile, was expected to follow the path laid out for him. His demeanor reflected the calm and composed nature of Rameshwar's people. He was seen as a beacon of hope for the future, someone who would uphold the values of his forefathers. He was to marry a girl chosen by his family. Arranged marriages were a common practice in Rameshwar, a tradition that ensured the continuation of familial bonds and social harmony. Mukesh's marriage was no different. It was a union that had been carefully planned and blessed by his elders. He was to continue the legacy of his forefathers. The ancestral home, with its intricate carvings and timeless beauty, stood as a testament to the family's enduring legacy. Mukesh was expected to carry forward this heritage, to be the custodian of his family's honor and traditions. But Mukesh harbored a secret longing. Beneath his calm exterior, there was a yearning for something more. He often found himself lost in thought, contemplating a life beyond the confines of Rameshwar. He dreamed of a world outside Rameshwar's boundaries. The distant city, with its promise of new experiences and opportunities, called out to him. Mukesh's heart was torn between his duty to his family and his desire to explore the unknown. He yearned for a life where he could write his own story. In the quiet moments of the night, Mukesh would pour his thoughts into a journal, dreaming of a future where he could forge his own path. He longed for the freedom to make his own choices, to live a life that was uniquely his own. Little did he know, fate had a plan. The universe had a way of weaving its own stories, and Mukesh's journey was about to take an unexpected turn. As he stood on the brink of change, he was unaware of the serendipitous encounters and fateful moments that awaited him. The winds of change were beginning to stir, and Mukesh's life was about to be transformed in ways he could never have imagined.
The library was Mukesh's sanctuary. It was a place where he could escape the chaos of the outside world and immerse himself in the tranquility of written words. Every corner of the library held a different adventure, a new story waiting to be discovered. He found solace in the company of books. They were his companions, his guides through the labyrinth of life. Each book he picked up was a doorway to another world, a world where he could lose himself and forget his worries. He devoured tales of distant lands and different cultures. Through the pages, he traveled to places he had never been, met people he had never known, and experienced lives he could only dream of. The library was his portal to the universe. The library was where he first saw her, Helen. She walked in with an air of grace, her presence lighting up the dimly lit room. Mukesh's heart skipped a beat as he watched her from behind a stack of books.
She was like a breath of fresh air. Her smile was warm and inviting, a stark contrast to the cold, silent atmosphere of the library. It was as if she brought a piece of the outside world with her, a world full of life and color. Her bright eyes sparkled with intelligence. They were the kind of eyes that seemed to see right through you, to understand your deepest thoughts and feelings. Mukesh was captivated by her, drawn to her like a moth to a flame. She carried herself with a quiet confidence that was captivating. There was something about her that commanded attention, a subtle strength that made her stand out in the crowd. Mukesh couldn't take his eyes off her.
Helen was a visitor, a student studying the local traditions. She was passionate about her research, spending hours in the library poring over ancient texts and manuscripts. Her dedication was evident in the way she meticulously took notes, her brow furrowed in concentration. She was drawn to Rameshwar's charm. His quiet demeanor and thoughtful nature intrigued her. There was something about him that was different from the others, something that made her want to know more about him. She was intrigued by its ancient wisdom. The library was a treasure trove of knowledge, and she was determined to uncover its secrets. Each book she read brought her closer to understanding the rich history and culture of the place. Their eyes met across the dusty shelves. It was a moment of connection, a silent understanding that passed between them. In that brief instant, they both knew that their lives were about to change. Time seemed to stand still. The world around them faded away, leaving just the two of them in that quiet corner of the library. It was as if the universe had conspired to bring them together, to create this perfect moment. In that instant, their worlds collided. It was a chance encounter, a meeting of two souls destined to find each other. The library, once a place of solitude for Mukesh, had now become the backdrop for a new chapter in his life.
Their initial awkward greetings soon blossomed into long conversations. They discovered a shared love for literature and a thirst for knowledge. Mukesh was drawn to Helen's open-mindedness. He was mesmerized by her tales of a world beyond Rameshwar.
Helen, in turn, was captivated by Mukesh's quiet strength. She admired his respect for his heritage. She saw a kindred spirit in him. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. They found solace in their shared dreams. They found comfort in their mutual understanding. They were falling in love deeply and irrevocably.
News of their budding romance spread through Rameshwar like wildfire. Tongues wagged, heads shook. Traditions were being challenged. Norms were being broken. Mukesh's family was aghast. They saw Helen as a threat to their values. They feared the societal backlash.
Helen's family, though miles away, were equally disapproving. They had dreamed of a traditional wedding for their daughter. They could not fathom her union with someone from a completely different background.
Their love was forbidden. Their relationship was unacceptable. Their families became the biggest obstacle to their happiness.
Despite the opposition, their love only grew stronger. Secret meetings were arranged under the cover of darkness. Stolen glances spoke volumes in crowded streets. They found strength in their shared adversity.
Our love is a beacon of hope, Helen.
It is our sanctuary, Mukesh, our strength and our hope.
They made promises under the starlit sky. They vowed to fight for their love. They swore to overcome every obstacle. Their love was their sanctuary. It was their strength. It was their hope. The pressure from their families became unbearable. The constant arguments, the disapproving looks, and the endless attempts to separate them had taken a toll on Mukesh and Helen. They felt suffocated by the expectations and demands placed upon them. Mukesh and Helen were faced with a heart-wrenching decision. They had to choose between their families and their love, a choice that no one should ever have to make. The weight of this decision hung heavily on their hearts.
We choose love, Helen. We choose each other. No matter what happens, we will face it together. Our love is stronger than any obstacle.
Yes, Mukesh. We will stand by each other, come what may. Our love will be our guiding light through the darkest times. We will leave Rameshwar behind. We will leave behind the pain, the judgment, and the heartache. We will start anew, where our love can flourish without constraints.
It was a difficult decision. The memories of their hometown, the familiar faces, and the places they grew up in were hard to let go of. But the love they shared was worth the sacrifice. It was a painful goodbye. Tears streamed down their faces as they held each other tightly, knowing that this was the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. They whispered promises of a brighter future. But it was a necessary step to protect their love. They knew that staying would only lead to more heartache and suffering. Leaving was their only chance at happiness. They boarded a train, their fingers intertwined, their hearts filled with a mix of trepidation and hope. The journey ahead was uncertain, but they were ready to face it together. They were leaving behind everything they knew, the streets they walked, the places they visited, and the people they loved. It was a bittersweet farewell. They were stepping into an uncertain future. The path ahead was unknown, but they had faith in their love. They believed that together they could overcome any challenge. But they had each other. Their love was their anchor, their source of strength. As long as they were together, they could face anything. And that was all that mattered. Their love was their greatest treasure, and they were determined to protect it at all costs. Together they would build a new life, filled with love and happiness. The city welcomed them with open arms. It was a melting pot of cultures. It was a place where dreams took flight. Mukesh and Helen built a life together, brick by brick, dream by dream.
Our home is a testament to our love, Helen, a beautiful blend of our cultures.
We celebrate Diwali with the same enthusiasm as Christmas, Mukesh. We embrace each other's traditions.
They created a world where their love could flourish. Years passed. Mukesh and Helen's love only deepened with time. They had faced societal pressures, familial disapproval, and the daunting challenge of starting anew. But through it all, their love had triumphed.
Our journey is an inspiration, Helen, a testament to the power of love.
It shows the world that love knows no boundaries, Mukesh. Love conquers all.
Mukesh and Helen found solace in each other's arms. They found joy in their shared journey. They found love that transcended boundaries.